Okay, you guys. Today we are kind of going over a wish list for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and kind of basing it off of what we want to see be carried over from Pokemon Legends Arceus and what we are okay with kind of getting left behind. And while they are two different styles of games, there should still be some overlap because now going to a more open world kind of Pokemon generation. And let's get into that. I think the way I want to go about this is a little bit of give one thing I want Pokemon to keep in the game for you to keep from Pokemon Legends Arceus, and then one thing I don't want them to carry over, like one functionality or whatever. So let's go ahead and start with a con here, and that's forced interaction. Now, in Pokemon Legends Arceus, every time you wanted to leave to go back to Jubilife, if you did anything remotely resembling a research task, you had to talk to the professor. And while this game is going to be more modern, it's not going to be as much as filling out the first Pokedex. That shouldn't be an issue, but just forced interactions in general and a bunch of storyline that is dragged out kind of needs to stay in the past because a lot of people basically just smash eighth the storyline anyway. And as long as it's short and still gets a nice depth to it, doesn't have to be too terribly. Now over to a pro. One thing that I think is very clearly gonna stay in is overworld shinies, like being able to tell if the Pokemon shiny before you get into a battle or interaction with it. BDSP didn't have it in the Grand Underground. People didn't like that. Let's Go, Pichu and Eevee did have it. People liked it. Legends Arceus had it. They did a really good job with it with making a noise and the little shine pop off, not just having a different color, just because some of them are really insanely close color wise. So I think them keeping that is a for sure. I feel like it's a guarantee at this point, and they should absolutely keep it. Another thing I definitely want them to get rid of, or at least fix, um, is Pokemon sorting. Uh, Filling up pastures was pretty easy in Pokemon Legends Arceus. However, once you got the pastures full, sorting them was dang near impossible. You couldn't do it by I don't know level. You couldn't do it by name. You couldn't do it by number, like Pokedex entry number, and that should absolutely be fixed. Especially if you're going to do it the same way of as interactive as it was. I just think sorting in the Pokemon PC, which is probably going to come back to newer. It's not set in the past anymore, but the PC should absolutely be sortable, and that would make a ton of difference. One thing that I think they also absolutely should bring back is a horde Pokemon, or swarm Pokemon they used to call it in the past, which they had it in I believe X and Y where you got multiple of the same Pokemon or same. You used to get all the evolutions kind of thing. But they should absolutely bring that back, and it's a huge like boost to shiny hunting, which was made the game really good in Pokemon Legends Arceus. However, there is another thing that kind of popped up that kind of ruined it, and this didn't ruin horde Pokemon specifically, but with the space time distortions, weather affecting it kind of sucked. Because it's gonna be open world, I don't know how exactly they could do horde Pokemon or swarm Pokemon. I'm just gonna keep calling swarm Pokemon because that's easier for me. I don't know how they could do swarm Pokemon, just mostly because I in my head it doesn't make sense. Like if you're just randomly traveling a route, does it say, "Oh hey, by the way, there's a swarm here"? I don't know how that would work. However, if they do, make sure weather has no effect. Maybe typing of the Pokemon, like maybe if it's raining more water type swarms, that's fine. But with space time distortions, that used to be I guess for a while that was the best way to shiny hunt. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't like at least the starters, it wasn't a shiny hunting option anymore because if it was raining, screwed. If it was too sunny, you were screwed. Fog, stuff like that. So weather affecting swarms or anything that needs to stay out of the swarm aspect of it. Another thing that I absolutely loved from Pokemon Legends Arceus is voluntary evolution. You kind of just got a little notification, like with the Pokeball changing colors, saying, "Hey, this Pokemon can evolve." I love the fact that you don't have to stop the evolution at all if you don't want to. Like you don't have to press B on it or give it an Everstone or anything like that. It was just voluntary when you wanted to, which is fantastic for move pools because some learn like Pokemon have better learn sets as the pre-evolution than as the fully evolved form, and that would help so much with a lot of things and not making it so that if you're trying to get an Umbreon or an Espeon and they happen to get the happiness at night, you don't have to back out of it. You can just wait till the daytime and then evolve it to get the Espeon instead of the Umbreon. And voluntary evolution is really good thing. I don't really have another like full on negative. that I don't want to be brought from Pokemon Legends Arceus. So let's talk about the ride Pokemon and HMs. I think they've kind of got away from it. Like in BDSP, you also didn't need HM mules or anything like that. Keep going with that. Don't don't backtrack there, and we'll be fine. The terrain doesn't look as much like climby and stuff. I guess just because everything looks to have a path in the little bit of game footage that we have seen. But I'm assuming rock climb and stuff like that will still be a thing. So ride Pokemon, absolutely where it's at. I don't really like the whole Bidoof or Bibarel, just being the Pokemon that just comes out. Let me have a ride Pokemon. It's more interactive. Even if it's just one of my Pokemon, I'd be okay with that. No, in fact, let it be my Pokemon that I ride. I did like the whole noble idea in Legends Arceus of where you were able to have this very special Pokemon that was exclusive basically to this game as another Pokemon that kind of helps you out along the way. I liked that storyline aspect of it, but here let me have my own Pokemon. If we get a flying type Pokemon, let me fly on my bird. Like Starly's in the game, so let me fly on my Staraptor and not just a random Pokemon that you guys choose. One last, I guess, positive that I want to talk about before I go into the concerns of what I saw in the trailer, or just kind of thoughts of the trailer for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, is changing the move sets of Pokemon is way better. I guess in Pokemon Legends Arceus, where you can change them whenever you want. You didn't need TMs or anything like that. If a Pokemon was able to learn it, it was able to learn it. Like even with the level move sets, you can go back to any different moves, which would help for like Pokemon gyms are probably gonna come back. It would help me set up different teams and not have to. I guess one set team that can go through and through with different move sets for each individual gym. That was great, and I think you should keep that for sure. But let's get into a couple questions I have about. So very small details here. It's basically supposed to be an open world. Is the word on the street, I guess, is that this whole map is supposed to be open. I mean, maybe areas will be sectioned off, with level caps and stuff like that, kind of like how the Elite Four used to be in Gen 1, I guess, where you could go to the certain like part and then they'll check your badge and you can move on again, check your badge, stuff like that. But I'm confused on why there's Pokemon centers so close to each other. I'm okay with the concept of it being looking like gas stations, walking up, kind of drive through window type situation. But if you look here, there's a Pokemon Center right in front of this town, right? This little castle place. And then not too far to the right, which looks to be just on the other side of a walking path. Now I don't know what's there, but just on the other side, there's another Pokemon Center. And I just don't know why they need to be that close if it's open world. This, I mean, 2 minutes of travel, maybe a minute, 30 seconds, depending on what ride Pokemon you have. You can fly right over it on a Staraptor, perhaps. But I don't see why it's that close. And unless they just put them in front of every single city just as a feature to kind of go back to the older Pokemon games where each city had its own Pokemon Center, I guess, but it just doesn't seem necessary. And that's kind of supported by another little castle right here. I just don't get it though. They don't need to be that close at all. One more thing about this little screenshot before I do move on to the next little like thing that has me not really concerned, but pops a question in my head. I do think that this rainbow was very purposeful. I guess. Just thinking about the rainbow in general. Red, right? Roy G. Biv, right? Red is Scarlet, basically, just not called Scarlet. They couldn't say, "Hey, Red and Violet." And then Biv, the Violet at the end of it. I do think the legendary or whatever something in part of the main storyline is going to be very rainbow centered. That's just my guess. It's a very colorful place. They have that little circle of all the types. I can't imagine the legendary not having something to do with lighting or rainbows, but that's just a side note. Okay, here is the screenshot that has me a couple like questioning. If crafting is still going to be a thing, crafting kind of made sense when we were set back in the past with having to make your own Pokeballs and make your own potions and stuff like that. But these trees look very similar, like the berries on the trees look very similar to like the apricorns, the guava berries, all that stuff that you had to throw your Pokeball at, get the Pokemon to shake it down. I just don't see what the use for them would be this time. Um, unless we could still craft our own potions, but crafting our own Pokeballs doesn't make sense at all. Just because we're set in a present day kind of situation where they're not a new thing. So it kind of worries me that these trees are there. If you want to craft potions and stuff like that, go ahead. But being able to craft Pokeballs and stuff would kind of it wouldn't deter me from the game at all, but it would kind of just be like this is unnecessary. I know you can save your money that way, but I still bought Pokeballs in Legends Arceus anyway, and I had the ability to make them. Okay, you guys, that is gonna do it for me. Let me know any other thoughts or concerns that you want in the game, or don't want in the game coming from Legends Arceus, because I think Legends Arceus was kind of just a bridge game. But let me know in the comments what else you guys would like to see in Generation 9.